Hello everyone! Before proceeding to the video, here are some helpful reminders for all of us. First is to get a scratch paper, a notepad, or a notebook and jot down all the ideas that you need to know and remember. Second, when I say the word please read, please pause the video so that you may read the example words or sentences given in your own generous time. Resume the video once you are done reading and comprehending the examples. This is to not prolong the video that you will be watching. Third is to focus. Happy learning! Explore. Engage. Enjoy. Less can, more can, you can do it. This is Learn English Online with Ma'am Alice. Hello everyone and welcome to the video discussion of Lesson 2, Transition Signals. On your screen is the most essential learning competencies or MELCs for this lesson. What are the things that we need to learn for this lesson? First, we're going to deal with the transition signals. How are transition signals useful and used? The transition signals groupings according to the relationship between ideas and the placement of transition signals. Before we proceed to the lesson, I have some questions to ask you. Before the lockdown, have you experienced planning to go to one of your favorite places? Were you able to locate the place immediately? Or were you lost due to uncoordinated road signage? If yes, what did you feel? If no, I want you to imagine this situation. Let's say we are on a road trip heading to one of the most visited places in the Philippines, Baguio, which is located at exit 72. It's awesome, so you cannot miss that. Our bus is waiting. Our bus is running, so we are just passing exit 68. So exit 72 must be close. Wait, we can now see exit 12. What? Are we going the wrong way? No, we are passing at exit 93. Did we miss it? No, there's exit 84. What's going on here? Why are they hiding the city of pines from us? Not cool, right? Upon imagining the situation given, can you recall an experience wherein you lost your way off to somewhere due to disordered signposts? How does it feel? How long does it take you to find the place you are looking for? The feeling that you have when you are lost heading to your destination is the same feeling that you get when you are reading uncoordinated sentences. You are so lost. In writing, uncoordinated road signages can be compared to uncoordinated sentences. Let's now proceed to Lesson 2, Transition Signals. What are transition signals? Transitions are words and phrases that show the relationship between ideas. These words signal changes and should alert the reader to those changes. The prefix trans is from the Latin meaning across. Learning to pay attention to traffic signs is a critical skill for driver. In much the same ways, learning to pay attention to transition words and signals is a critical skill for readers to acquire. Transitions help us make connections or move across ideas smoothly. Transition signals are linking words or phrases that connect your ideas and add cohesion to your writing so that there are no abrupt jumps or breaks between your ideas. Transition signals also act like signposts that indicate to the reader the relationship between sentences and between paragraphs, making it easier for the reader to understand your ideas. As readers, we need to take advantage of signal words. If we see the word but we expect to find a contrast, the word tells us to expect something added. These words help us predict what will follow. If we read the signal incorrectly, we can become confused. Then we need to go back to read the sentence again. How are transition signals useful? Transition signals make it easier for the reader to follow your ideas. Transition signals also create powerful links between sentences and paragraphs to improve the flow of information across the whole text. Also, this helps to carry over a thought from one sentence to another, from one idea to another, or from one paragraph to another. In short, transition signals help you have a smooth flow of writing that will lead to better understanding of the intended meaning. How are transition signals used? Transition signals are usually placed at the start of sentences. However, they may also appear in the middle or end of the sentence. A transition signal or a clause introduced by a transition signal is usually separated from the rest of the sentence by commas. Remember, you do not need to use transition signals in every sentence in a paragraph. However, good use of transition words will help you to make the relationship between the ideas in your writing clear and logical. Which transition signals can you use? Before choosing a particular transition signal to use, be sure that you understand its meaning and usage completely and it's the right match for the logic in your paper. Let's take a look in these examples. Sentence 1. I woke up early and I got in school just in time. Sentence 2. I woke up early but I was still late for school. The transitional devices used in these sentences are and but. The first sentence or sentence 1 uses and as a transition word that connects the two occurrences equally, while sentence 2 uses but, which introduces a contrast. As you can see in the examples, even simple conjunctions serve different purposes. Let's have the groupings of the transitional signals according to the relationship between ideas. The first is words that show illustration or introduce an example. These transition words show that a writer will provide one or more examples to develop and clarify a given idea. They tell us that the second idea is an example of the first. On your screen are the example words for illustration or example. Here are some sample sentences. Meanwhile, presented are some sample sentences for the words that show illustration or introduce an example. Please read. Next are the transition words that show addition. Here, transition signals tell you that the writer is presenting two or more ideas that continue along the same line of thought. They add to a thought that has already been mentioned. Presented on your screen are the example words that show addition. Meanwhile, here are sample sentences that follow. Please read. Next are words that show time. Here, these transition signals indicate a time relationship. They tell us when something happened in relation to something else. This is actually overlapping with the words that indicate a sequence or order. These transition words clearly show a sequence of events in your writing or logically divide ideas presented. On your screen are the words that indicate sequence or order. Meanwhile, here are some sample sentences of the words that indicate time, sequence, or order. Please read. Next, we have words that show comparison. These transition words indicate that the writer is pointing out a similarity between two subjects. They tell us that the second idea is like the first one in some way. Here are some words that show comparison. Also, here are the sample sentences of the words that show comparison. Please read. Next are the transition words that show contrast. These transition words signal a change in the writer's direction of thought. They tell us that a new idea will be different in a significant way from the previous one. Shown are the example of the words that show contrast. Meanwhile, these are sample sentences for the transition words that show contrast. Please read. Next are the transition words that show cause and effect. Cause and effect transitions signal that a writer is going to describe results or effects. They tell us what will happen because something else happened. Presented on your screens are the sample words that show cause and effect. Meanwhile, these are some sample sentences of the words that show cause and effect. We also have words that summarize or conclude. These transition words signal that a writer is about to summarize or come to a conclusion. They tell us that the idea that follows sums up what has gone before it. These are some of the words that summarize or conclude. Meanwhile, these are some sample sentences of that particular transition signals. Please read. We also have words that emphasize or clarify. These signal words let us know that a writer is about to clarify or to interpret a certain point. They tell us that the second statement is an expansion of a previous one. Sample words are given on your screen. Meanwhile, for the sample sentences, please read. We also have words that show location. These transition words show relationship in space. They tell us where something is in relation to something else. On your screen are words that show location. Meanwhile, here are sample sentences for the transition words that show location. Please read. Let us now proceed to the placement of transition signals. Transition words can be used within a single sentence, between two different sentences, or even between paragraphs. Let's see how the sentences can be improved by adding transitional devices in each of these situations. First, we have single sentence example. For the original sentence, Susan spoke, thinking of the right answer. With transition, Susan spoke only after thinking of the right answer. In this case, the transition words are used to connect two parts of a single sentence. This transition highlights time, chronology, or sequence, or the order in which events occurred. Let's see how transition words can link a paragraph. For the original sentence, Michael didn't have enough money to buy his mom flowers. He wasn't old enough to get a job. He felt sad on Mother's Day. With transitions, Michael didn't have enough money to buy his mom's flowers because he wasn't old enough to get a job. Nevertheless, he felt sad on Mother's Day. The example given combines two sentences into one and helps a third sentence flow logically from the one before it. Adding these transition words shows that three disjointed sentences are related to each other, which otherwise might not be obvious to the reader. See how transition words can link a paragraph? This makes it flow more smoothly. We also have between paragraph example. When transitions are used between paragraphs, they are often in the form of a phrase or clause that refers to the previous information while introducing a new idea. This transition often come at the beginning or at the beginning of new phrases and may use phrases like this. In conclusion, the thesis is clear. It follows logically that the answer results from the points made earlier in this paper. Lastly, it is important to make point A. Next, we will look at the evidence for C. Despite the previous argument, it is also important to think about B's when discussing pollution. Remember that when writing a new paragraph, you need to start one when it already includes new ideas. So these examples will be very much helpful when you're writing between paragraphs. These are just a few examples of the many transition words and phrases available in the English language to make your writing more cohesive. Bear in mind that it is possible for some words to be placed in more than one category depending on the way you use it or the ideas you're trying to connect. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something from this lesson. See you in the next video.